Well, there's intense excitement on the visit of Prime Minister Modi to the United States. There are lots of people looking forward to catching a glimpse of him. Some of them have been personally influenced by him to a great extent. Joining us now, a very special guest, three-time Grammy Award winner and three-time Grammy-nominated Indian performer, Ricky Cage. He's been a musician, he's been an environmentalist, he remains that. He's performed in 30 countries, including the United Nations, in New York and in Geneva. Ricky, wonderful to speak to you. Thanks very much. You are one of the people who's been invited to Washington to meet the Prime Minister. Is that right?
It's quite amazing to be here. I was in New York because I had a performance at the United Nations General Assembly Hall on the 16th. And I was pretty surprised to receive this invite from the White House to welcome Prime Minister Modi for his state visit. So that is, So it's very exciting to actually be invited.
Ricky, you've been influenced by Prime Minister Modi in the past. You've written in the past, you've said in the past that he's changed your trajectory. How has that happened?
So the first time when I met Prime Minister Modi was after I won my first Grammy Award in 2015. And we had this beautiful 1 hour long conversation. And during this conversation, he realized that I was a very strong environmentalist. And I used to do a lot of work when it comes to climate change, lots of work with the United Nations. And that is when he had suggested that, I should stop all forms of commercial music and just concentrate completely on living the life and also creating music for environmental consciousness and social impact around those areas. So when I left his office, I left with a strong resolve that this is exactly what I'm going to do with my career. And that's exactly what I did. And I'm really happy doing what I'm doing because I'm only making music on the things that I feel strongly about and topics that actually move me personally.
Could you give us a little bit of the buzz or the sense of excitement that you see in the United States around this visit?
Definitely. The buzz is really high among the Indian diaspora and among other people too. In fact, I was doing an interview at Times Square yesterday, and as soon as they saw that I was an Indian person over there, and there were Indian media people are asking that, is this for the Prime Minister's visit? And there was a crowd that actually gathered over there. So there is a huge buzz over here. And even at the United Nations, since I was there at the United Nations headquarters just 3 days ago for my concert, everybody were talking about Prime Minister Modi's visit because it is considered to be this huge thing that is going to happen at the United Nations on the 21st in the morning.
Are you a yoga fan yourself?
I make a lot of, I have to admit that, I try to do as much yoga as possible, but because of my schedule, I'm unable to. But I make a lot of music for people who do yoga. And in fact, 2 of my Grammy Award winning albums are music which is very well suited for yoga. I'm releasing a new song for yoga tomorrow. But yeah, I'm very guilty that I have not been practicing yoga as much as I want to. But on the 21st, on the lawns of the United Nations, I will do yoga led by Prime Minister Modi.
Well, that's fantastic. How have you made the transition from music to the environment? And how has your music, how does it sort of transcend just sound to send out a very strong message on the environment?
So I've always believed that, most people, when it comes to environmental problems, are aware of all the environmental problems, maybe not at an analytical level or at a scientific level, but at some level, everybody knows that there is climate change, there is species extinction, deforestation, air pollution, plastics pollution. So I believe that the golden question is not about awareness, it's about how do we move people from awareness of problems to action. And I believe music can be that beautiful catalyst to reach people emotionally and, and think through their hearts and their souls and bring about changes within their own lives. So that's what I do through music. And I've always been an environmentalist my whole life. It's only for the last 7 or 8 years that I combined both my loves, of the music and the environment together so that all of my music has got a very strong message of change, especially when it comes to the environment.
It's just amazing to be speaking to a 3-time Grammy Award winner. I don't know if there's anybody else in India who's won as many Grammy Awards as you. But just in terms of your own musical journey going forward, where do you see it taking you?
So I guess I only make music on things that I feel strongly about. So, and there are so many things that I feel strongly about. There are so many issues that we have in our world. There are so many things that we need to celebrate in our world. And I'm going to continue making music on that. So I do not have any overarching goal because to be honest, while growing up, the Grammys always felt like an unattainable dream, that sitting down in India and making music, it's not possible to actually win a Grammy Award. But then at the age of 33, I won my first Grammy Award and then 2 more after that. So I've stopped thinking about long-term goals, and I just think about what do I need to do right now and what messages do I need to reach out to the world? What do I need to communicate to my audiences through my concerts? And I just focus on that.
You've spoken out about land degradation. You've spoken out, obviously, about climate change. India has got some very strong deadlines or goals, 2030, and what we hope to achieve in cutting down on our emissions. Are you inspired by what the Prime Minister, this government is trying to do? Do you believe it's realistic, or do you believe that it's a pipe dream?
It is actually very ambitious goals, but I see us achieving these goals. Or at least I have the hope of us achieving these goals, especially when it comes to electrification, when it comes to achieving the sustainable development goals by 2030. The Solar Alliance that Prime Minister Modi had announced in 2015 at the Climate Change Conference in Paris is again a beautiful goal about tropical nations all over the world coming together to produce enough solar energy for the global south. So I think these are very ambitious goals, but yet achievable. And I believe that India used to always sit on the sidelines when it came to environmental issues and when it came to issues about partnerships on climate change. But now not only are we participating in these discussions, but we're also taking leadership. So I feel that these goals are achievable, and I've got a lot of hope that India can take the leadership when it comes to mitigating the effects of climate change. Besides
all of your several accomplishments, you're also a global ambassador for kindness. How does that work?
So I'm the global ambassador for kindness for UNESCO MGIP. So it's all about that when it comes to the problems that we face, whether it's social problems or environmental problems. I guess at the basis of all of this is kindness. That if you're just kind to our planet, if you're just kind to the people around us, and if we show a lot of empathy and compassion, then basically at that very generic, basic level, we've solved all of our problems. So I guess this whole thing of me being an ambassador of kindness is going back to the roots and figuring out the root of our problems and, and trying to solve that.
I've got a copy of your invite for lunch where the Vice President and Douglas Elmhoff, and the Secretary of State, requesting the pleasure of your company for lunch to meet Narendra Modi. So you will get a chance to meet the US Vice President and also the Prime Minister once again. You must be really looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Very much looking forward to that. And of course, I've met Prime Minister Modi a few times. After winning my first Grammy, my second Grammy, I also met him at Johannesburg when Prime Minister Modi had addressed the Indian diaspora there. I did a performance there. And also when he won the Champions of the Earth Award, which is the highest environmental award that the United Nations gives out. In 2018, I think that was in December. So it's going to be really exciting to have this opportunity to meet him again and to celebrate this beautiful state visit between the oldest democracy in the world, one of the oldest democracies of the world, and also right now, by and large, the largest democracy on this planet. Yeah. So it's a partnership that is absolutely important and very beneficial for the entire planet.
But right now, you're focusing on yoga, right? That's what you're stretching your limbs out, getting ready to be there at the UN lawns.
I'm just hoping not to embarrass myself.
I'm sure you'll do fine.
So I'm just pulling out all my loose clothing, which I have very little of, and I'm going to try to do my best.
All right, Ricky, wonderful speaking to you. It's going to be a great visit, and it's going to be a great opportunity for you once again. Thank you so much for sparing some time to speak to NDTV.